This is Ashutosh Trigunayat. I have secured All India Rank 22 in CAPF 2022. This was my fourth attempt, basically, and hopefully it was my last attempt as well. I'm going to share about my journey from the beginning to the end, the role the different people played in my life, and the role of guidance, role of academy, role of Sanjeev Kabir sir as well. I have done my initial schooling from my hometown Hathras. Then I have done my graduation from University of Delhi. It was during the time of school that I dreamt of becoming an officer in uniform services. And from there onwards started my journey. It was this ambition that took me to take admission in University of Delhi. I took history deliberately so that I can prepare simultaneously for different competitive examination conducted by UPSC. During the second year of my graduation, I came across the CAPF examination. You all know what actually happened, that we all know about UPSC Civil Services examination, but very less people in small cities know about the CAPF examination that can also bring to them that same prestige, same experience, same lifestyle, and everything else that one candidate aspire for in his or her life. So it was in second year that I came across this examination, and I thought that it would be more good for me to prepare for this examination thoroughly, and I had that in myself that I can do it. Ever since I came across this, and when I inquired a lot about the syllabus, this exam pattern, all the things, it attracted me a lot. So after passing the graduation, I strictly started preparing for CAPF examination, but simultaneously I also gave serious examination and SSBs as well. But CAPF Assistant Commandant examination remained my first priority ever since I have started preparation. I failed in 2019 attempt. I failed in written part in 2020. I reached to the level of interview in 2021, though I'll be there in the reserve list. But I secured that my name in Holil PDF in my last attempt in 2022. This entire journey was very enjoyable but challenging at the same time. We actually do not know what an officer looks like, how he or she behaves in the services, but this entire journey of becoming an officer makes you learn a lot and make you aware about the challenges, about the mindset you should have as an aspirant to be an officer, and all those things that are required in this lifestyle, in your attitude. I also learned all those things like positivity, optimism, and never saying no to attitude to the challenges, and ever winning attitude for all the problems that I went across in this journey. And when I got my name in the list, I was pretty confident that now I'm in a position, I've learned all those basic requirements that will be helpful for me to be an effective and efficient officer in the armed forces. There was a time in 2021 when I was preparing for interview after physicals and medicals. But since this CAPF 2021 examination became prolonged due to some unwanted issues in the recruitment process, I was confused because I basically come from a village background, and there are almost no facilities for such preparation in the villages. And it was probably one of my best decisions I've ever made in my life, that I came across this advertisement on YouTube or somewhere else about CareerQuest Institute and Sanjeev Kabir sir that only provides guidance for interviews. And I was in that position to get that. I randomly made that decision and inquired about everything, and I decided that I will definitely take guidance from Sanjeev Kabir sir. And when the class started, I actually felt good. During the classes, whatever sir told to us, told all the classmates, all the group mates. And when I came to meet Sanjeev Kabir sir during the first interview and the second interview, there was a clear difference in my personality. There was clear difference in my approach for not just giving answers, but to everything that comes to us from other people. How to handle those, how to answer those things, how to have those points in mind to answer to any question in any situation. How to handle pressure. So all those classes that we went through last year were really tremendously helpful for me to make some fundamental changes in my approach towards others. This was apart from what I had already learned during the whole entire UPSC journey. And in fact, when I had my second and third interview with Sanjeev Kabir sir, after implementing all those things which sir had already taught us in the classes, sir gave me very good feedbacks about myself, what I have learned, what I have changed in myself, what the approaches are required for the interview, are those at place or not. And in fact, in the last interview, he clearly said that there is nothing left which can be improved from this. All the fundamentals are at place. You just need to have some ornamental changes when you enter the room, when you greet all the board members, when you sit at the chair. All these things were required, which I improved with practice. But each and every point that sir had taught us in the classes, in personal meets with sir, I tried to implement all those. Thus, the sir has played a very instrumental and pivotal role in my preparation so far. And this is not that I'm overemphasizing the role of guidance. It's just that if there are a lot of persons who seek guidance for these interviews and for many other things in life. And I think the Sanjeev Kabir sir is doing a great job in providing that particular specific guidance that people lack. They can learn from books, they can they can learn answer writing, they can learn anything else, but how to express yourself, how to present yourself, sir, I think sir has done mastery on it. And this is coming from bottom of my heart for sir. Now I'll come to some experiences which I gained during the journey of CAPF examination for paper 1, for paper 2, as well as for interview. For paper 1 specifically, CAPF examination, as far as GS is concerned, except current affairs, the matter, the content is almost similar to the prelims examination of CSE and the PCS examination of state PCS respectively. So CAPF examination, the prelims examination, tier 1, paper 1, comes in between the CSE and the PCS examinations. But the challenge is that the paper 1 and paper 2 happens on the same day. So we have to practice, we have to set our goals, we have to manage our preparation in that way. For paper 1, I refer to all those conventional sources like NCRTs and other books for M. Lakshmikant for polity, NCRT books for geography and history, and current affairs from different coaching academies, which I revised in last 1.5 months, not before that. But I continuously and consistently read the Hindu newspaper online, which made me familiar to the things happening in and around myself, in the country and in the world. Apart from that revision, I refer to several sources for mock tests. I practiced all the CDS papers for last 10 years, CDS papers. I practiced CAPF papers, UPCS papers, and other sources as well, which made my preparation holistic. And this mock test practice helped me find out all those critical aspects that we often miss out while revising the books. In fact, there is a lot of content in M. Lakshmikant, but what is to be read, what is to be kept in mind is the main challenge. And when you practice mock test, you come to those important points in your book, and when you mark those points again and again, you revise them, and when you come to a complete revision of that notebook, not just M. Lakshmikant, but to any other thing, any other topic, you revise all those things. So it helps you prepare holistically. For paper 2, writing is the only possible way to excel in this paper. I myself have secured 116 marks in paper 2 in this year, which shows that I must have written some good points in the paper 2. There was basically two things which I did during the preparation. One thing, the paper which I read, the Hindu, I used to read that paper with the perspective of paper 2, not just of paper 1, but also of paper 2. Whatever facts and figures which can be helpful for me, I used to note them down in a particular diary for paper 2, which I kept with myself for revision for paper 2 at the last time. And I maintained this diary for almost 3 years. And I added every day whatever good line, for example, our Foreign Affairs Minister, Shri S. Jaishankar, has said anything, I used to quote those lines and I used to note those lines in my diary, in my notebook, which used to help me a lot to quote that in my answer if any question from foreign affairs or international relations is asked. So it enriches your answers. It makes a good impression on the examiner, who is checking your copy. So in this way, I prepared paper 2, but I gave a lot of mock tests. In fact, one more thing I used to do was, I used to find out some topics weekly or in 10 days, which in the newspaper, on which I can write essays, on which I can write arguments, so that I can prepare the current affairs as well. But I can practice for paper 2 also. I attempted some test series as well. If there are good test series available, there are actually good test series available in the market which you can take. But self-practice is the key. And when I say self-practice, it just not imply the writing part, but it also includes the checking part as well. When you write your answer and when you check as well, you find out, you come across the mistakes, the negative point that you have mentioned in the answer, or those points which you have left actually. Initially, I was not doing this, but when I started doing this, I started improving drastically. So there is a lot of difference in when another person checks your copy and when you yourself check your copy. It is similar to doing push-ups. When you do push-ups, you feel the pain, you feel your stress, you feel whenever it is hurting, wherever it is hurting, which muscle is getting more stress and which muscle is not getting the part. You learn in the process, you self-introspect, and then you tend to do again and again and again and again. So, answer writing practice is also similar to that. I will suggest you to practice it and you yourself check it first before sending to someone else to check it for you. Now, for interview, I've already mentioned the role of Sanjeev Kabir sir, which he helped me, the things he told me to do. Apart from that, what I did was, I prepared the dev, I did all those essential things which Sanjeev sir had already told us. But apart from that, what I found myself, I tried to make my daily life in a way that whenever I'm talking to someone in the village or somewhere else, I used to talk to those people in the similar manner, considering them my seniors, considering them officers. So it helped me improve my presentation skills, which I would use in the interview. I have been teaching in school for last 2 years. So I made my teaching in that way to express myself more and more better, to express my answers, my solutions to the students so that they can understand well. And at the same time, when I used to teach, I used to look at myself that if I'm using the good words, if I'm using good sentences, small sentences, and if I'm making the answers appropriate or not. So this was my personal preparation for interview. Wherever you are, you may be working in somewhere in an office, you may be teaching, you may be doing something else, you must be doing something before interview. Make your lifestyle before interview in that way that you will talk to your senior once you become an officer. It will definitely help you in skilling yourself while answering the questions in the interview. It will definitely help you. Apart from dev preparation, apart from preparation for internal security, apart from preparing for current affairs, the most important part is that how you present, because you've already gone a lot in paper 1, paper 2, but this time in the interview is specifically a test of how you present yourself, not how you put the several facts and figures which you know, because the board members who are sitting in front of you, are more experienced. They know everything. When you can bluff, when you are bluffing, and when you are fabricating your answers without having the actual content which the board members actually expect from you. So this will come from your regular practice. It is not a matter of that you spend half an hour in mirror practice and you can do it. Many people can do it who have such background, who have come from convent schools and English medium schools. But for people like me who have come from a very humble background, this practice with parents, with family members, with relatives, to talk in a way when you are talking, say in a similar way, you are talking to an officer, to your senior. Make it a habit, make it a lifestyle before interview, because it will help you a lot. Now I'll come to my interview experience. I have given 2 interviews in CAPF in 2021 and for 2022. In 2021, I secured 85 marks. In 2022, I secured 108 marks. There is a difference of 23 marks in both the interviews. One thing I realized during both the interviews, that there is a set pattern of qualities that they are looking for while testing you. But at the same time, there is no set pattern of question that will ask you, because in both the interviews, no question from internal security was asked from me, and which all of us expect from board members. So there is a set pattern of quality that they are looking for, but there is no set pattern of things, the questions which they can ask from you. They can ask you randomly, and your skill, your qualities will be tested in those at random questions, right? Overall, it was a wonderful experience in both the interviews. When you enter the room, you forget everything. I was focused on enjoying that moment, on answering those questions confidently, and I had already forget everything before entering the room. In fact, the second interview which I gave was more pressurized, in which I secured 108 marks. The difference in both the interviews was that the level of questions which was asked in the second interview was a little bit higher. In first interview, the questions were normally general, but in the second it was more pressurized. But what compels them to question you in a more pressurized way, we cannot know that. My only and last advice to you is that the interview is a wonderful conversation with the panel members. They are highly experienced person. So do not fear it at all. Do not fear it at all. Just focus on how calm and composed you can go inside, how calm and composed you can answer, and how cool you are actually. Because I think these uniform services do not want rigid officers. They want lively personalities, and not just straightforward personalities, lively personalities, and the personalities which can acclimatize to any kind of situation. So don't go with any expectation inside the room. Don't go with the perception that this board is giving more marks, this board is giving less marks, this board is cordial, this board is not, this board asks difficult questions, this board asks less difficult questions. So don't go with such expectations, because they can ask you anything. It does not depend on these things. I was composed, calm and composed in the entire interviews, both interviews I gave, but there were some situations when I felt tremendous pressure on me. For example, an interview panel member asked me about how economists sees Ashoka's Dhamma, as I've done graduation in history. So he asked me this question. I was blank completely, but I politely asked him to give me some few seconds to think over it. I asked, because this question is not that you can at random say, no sir, I'm not able to recall it, or I do not know about it. Because this question demands a little bit thinking. I thought over it, but I couldn't find the answer. So I very calmly, composed manner said, sorry sir, I'm not able to comprehend the question, so I will not be able to, I will not be able to answer this. And he was okay with that. He was okay with it, I think. And what I get from that response, that he was probably expecting that I will not be able to answer that question, but he wanted to check my pressure handling capacity through that question. So when the next panel member asked me the question, started asking me the question, I was comfortable. I did not have the pressure that I was not able to answer the question that panel member asked me earlier. I was normal because it has gone, it is gone, it has already gone. Nobody can do anything in that. So these kind of situations you will face during the interview. Do not go with preconception, do not go with expectation, do not go with any fear, do not go with any negative thought in your mind. And while your interview is going, if you are not comfortable in answering any questions, you may bluff. There are lots of people who say that do not bluff, but there are some situations when you unintentionally say some wrong thing, but there is nothing wrong in that. If you admit that after making that mistake, it makes a good impression on that. Because in the second interview, one panel member asked me that where the Seshasuri's Dargah, Seshasuri's tomb situated. I answered it that it is situated in Delhi. But no, he said, no, you are wrong. It is in Sasaram, Bihar. So I very calmly said, thank you so much, sir, and I'm sorry, sir. I will definitely go and check about it. So I was not pressurized. I was calm. And I admit that I made a mistake and I've said sorry. I was comfortable. Then again, the interview started going well. And when everything finished, I comfortably stand along the chair. I said thank you politely and came out of the room. And I know what kind of pressure I had inside and how I controlled it. I think this was the thing which they liked about me during the interview, and as a result of which I secured 108 marks, I think, which is 23 marks higher than the previous interview. So I hope I have made all the things clear according to my experiences throughout this journey. I hope this will help you in your journey, and I wish that you achieve whatever you want in your future. So good luck and do your best. Thank you so much.